The cable dominator is utilized by the lumber building material industry throughout the United States and in Canada. It has proven effective in uncabling centerbeam railcars and eliminates the hazards of climbing on railcars. It is easy to use and is built to withstand rigorous use. This cable dominator was developed specifically to eliminate the need to put personnel at risk by working on top of railcars. The cable dominator is more efficient than using a guy wire or cage, requires no fall harness, and is a one-man operation. First, familiarize yourself with the cable dominator. The standard unit has a screen 10 feet wide, 5 feet high, and is arched at the bottom for extra protection from falling cables. The arms and cable claws reach out 7 feet from the forklift mast, allowing for easier cable release. The fork sleeves are 16 inches wide and 4 inches thick to accommodate most fork sizes. Refer to the drawing regarding forklift mast height for further information on the various models of the cable dominator. First, loosen the cable ratchets on the railcar and give the cables an arm's length of slack. Next, you will want to attach your forklift to the cable dominator. Start by driving the forklift forks into the fork sleeves and raise the cable dominator to a comfortable level in order to attach the safety chains to the forklift mast. Take up most of the slack in the chain, but also allow a little play for the side shift operation. Be sure and thread the add-a-link fully before using or transporting the cable dominator. Failure to do so could result in the cable dominator falling from the forks, resulting in damage or injury. Next, you may want to mark your forklift mast to determine the proper level of the cable dominator when approaching the release of the cables. Simply raise the cable dominator with the mast straight up or at a slight tilt forward to the top of the center beam, and then raise it up 3 to 4 inches. Get off the forklift and stand back 20 or 30 feet to assure that the cable claws are at the proper height. Then simply mark your mast where the two booms go together. This will give you a reference point for proper height of the cable dominator. Always be aware of mast angle, as this will change the cable dominator height. Now you are ready to use the cable dominator. Generally, it is better to uncable the car from right to left. Always start out by having the forklift mast straight up and down or at a slight forward tilt. You will want to tilt back naturally. Avoid this to ensure a positive release of the cables. This will also keep the cable claws straight on top of the car and also keep the forklift further away from the car. You are now ready to approach the car. Try to keep the forklift square with the rail car when approaching it. Make sure the cable claws are a few inches to the left of the cables. Raise the mast to the required height. Drive forward about a foot or two. Then, making sure the forklift is square with the rail car, side shift to the right approximately 6 to 8 inches or rotate the forklift to shift the cable claws under the cables. Then, raise the cable dominator. Observe movement of all 3 cables to assure proper attachment. Next, raise the cable dominator 3 to 4 inches above the center beam. Use your mast reference point to verify the cable dominator height. Then, drive slowly forward until the cables are released. If the cables do not drop to the ground, simply lower the cable dominator claws on top of the cables that have not fallen. Then slowly drive in reverse until they fall to the ground. Move the forklift over to the next 3 cables and continue to repeat the operation until all cables are unhooked on one side. Then move to the other side of the car and complete the uncabling process. If you have problems with cables not releasing, some of the following things may be occurring. More than likely, the cable dominator is raised too high above the top of the center beam of the railcar. Remember, this is a finesse procedure. Try to imagine your hands taking off the cables as if you are walking on top of the car. The cable dominator operation should be that smooth. Another reason for cables not releasing could be because you may be approaching the railcar at an angle. This tends to bind the cables. Remember to always be square with the car when approaching the release points of the keyholes. In both instances, simply readjust the cable dominator to the proper height and square the forklift, then drive forward again. The cables should release. Another reason for a cable binding is side shifting the cable claws too far to the right. This causes the cable to be at an angle and causes binding at the release points. It is ideal to have the cable close to the center of the cable claw, allowing for a straight release. It is very important to always be aware of your surroundings. What's behind you, to the sides of you, and in front of you. Make sure there is no one close to the railcar working area when working with the cable dominator. Always be sure that all the cables are released from the keyholes and from the cable dominator before readjusting for the next set of cables. Failure to do so could result in the cable dominator becoming disengaged and falling from the forklift. After working a few cars, use of the cable dominator will become more natural. And you as an operator should feel more and more comfortable. You may want to come back to this video after working with the cable dominator to address any issues you may have. With different types of railcars, the products may be loaded differently on occasion. But once you have mastered how the cable dominator works, you will be able to disconnect all Centerbeam railcars that reach your location.